Gyutaro has made his debut here in Demon Slayer Season 2 of Episode 7, guys. And with that, this is my review of Season 2, Episode 7 of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, and let's dive into it. So, like I talked about last week, as far as Episode 6, when we were walking, we were preparing to walk into Episode 7, that I basically had read the rest of the red light district, or AKA the entertainment district per the anime, what they're calling it. And so there's a good number of things that are getting ready to happen, but it definitely needed to build up to Gyutaro coming into the fold. Now, like I talked about in last week's episode, well, I want to say in a previous video, I want to say, was it yesterday or the day before? I put out so many videos I can't remember. That talking about how Nezuko was going to just like do some damage to Daki, and she definitely did do that. She was kicking her down, beating her down, but at the same time, Daki was using her belt to basically slice off her limbs again. She even cut off her head, but her blood just like kept her all of her limbs staying in one spot. Like it was just like they were hanging from her blood itself. But some of the blood got onto Daki, and of course, like I said, per the manga, that we see Daki get turned into put on fire basically by some of Nezuko's blood getting on her. And that was just totally dope to see in anime form. But also at the same time, because Nezuko had broke her muzzle, that once she kicked Daki through several of the buildings, and one of the well, it was more than one person in the building that got hurt, but the one lady who did get hurt, and she saw her bleeding from her arm, her I want to say close to her wrist, she immediately started to get the urge and surge to want to go after and bite the lady and kill her, per her demonistic nature. But of course, Tanjiro, we have Takio pop up again to wake him up out of his sleep, and he basically comes into the fold and muzzles her mouth with the sheath of his sword, and trying to calm her down. But then also too, Tengan comes into the fold. He literally, because Daki tried to attack, he literally sliced her belt apart again, and on top of that, slicing her neck. So in the midst of her talking, in the midst of her, kind of whining and stuff, her head comes off. So she's just holding it in her lap. And Tengen basically saying to her, like, you're not strong, you're not an upper moon, blah blah blah. She's saying that she is. They're going back and forth. You're not. I don't believe you. And she's like, yes, I am. Blah blah blah. To the point that she's crying, well, with her head laying down upside down. By the way, basically her head is laying upside down, and her tears are she's crying, and the tears are falling down her head. And then to the point, she's just continuously crying. But also too, just funny moments between Inosuke and Zenitsu, when they're literally, because Tengen pretty much is like directing them where to go, but he literally charges off quicker than them, and then we have the little funny moment between Inosuke and Zenitsu running to try to figure out exactly where they are. Zenitsu's still asleep, but his body is going off of instinct. Plus, he can hear. His very strong hearing is directing them where they really need to go. So Inosuke really doesn't know specifically where they need to go, but Zenitsu comes into the fold to be able to help them get there. But with that, we also see that because Tengen tells Tanjiro, like, you need to calm your sister down. I can't focus on all of you, and trying to focus on this fight. You got to sing her a lullaby. Nezuko shoves them outside of the building, down to the ground, several floors down to the ground. Or maybe not several, but maybe a couple or 3 floors down to the ground. And he's still trying to keep her calm. And then that's when he notices what Tengen told him, like I was talking about in the video. I want to say it was from yesterday, that he remembers Tengen telling him sing her a lullaby, and he tries to in the beginning, but then eventually he does get through to her because it was a bit of a struggle. It took a couple minutes for her to really connect what he was trying to say to her in her ear while he's still muzzling her mouth with the sheath of his sword. And then we see her remembering her walking as a kid, carrying Tanjiro with them because he's a baby at that time, and she's of course a little older, and she's holding her hand, and she remembers her mother singing this lullaby to her, and that's what helps calm her down. She literally cries out, she's crying, and then she literally de-transforms into basically a baby Nezuko, small Nezuko, and she dozes off to sleep, and the Tanjiro's like, "Mom, she fell asleep, Just really just a touching moment here in episode 7 for today between Nezuko and her mother, and that memory and that song, like just really touching. But definitely, the highlight, of course, is Gyutaro making his debut, because we find out that Daki has a brother. She yells out to him like, "Brother, help me, brother, save me," and he pops out of her back. Tengen tries to slice him and cut him, but he's too quick. And then, Gyutaro is basically like consoling, his sister, you shouldn't be crying, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you've always been beautiful, this, that, and the third. She calms down too. But then, it goes from that to turning from his attention to her to Tengen. Tengen tried, and that's the thing, like Tengen, like I said, he tried to even cut Gyutaro when his head was down, like when he was popping out, and he missed. And then he tried it again, and he missed again. So that's when Gyutaro was just like saying, like, you're messing with my sister, this, that, and the third. And he's like, I gotta hurt you. He uses some blood demon art. He can throw his Tanjiro called them sickles. I believe he does call him that in the manga. And he had tossed them at Tengen, but he missed. But they were like boomerangish, like they went out the building and came back to him. But then, like I said, he used blood demon art, which were kind of like sickles too, in the form of blood, spinning all around and trying to hit Tengen, but he's slicing through them. But needless to say, with him again making his debut in here, and him showing us that Daki is strong, we can basically tell that he's stronger than her. And we found this out in the manga too. But because he shows up, things are about to pick up in episode 8 next week. I forgot to mention the title of the episode is Transformation. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video. But this episode was just really just great, guys. It was really, really just great from start to finish. Just really loved it. Animation style, all of it. It was just great, man. Just like, I can't wait for episode 8 already. I'm really ready for it right now. I wish it was next Sunday right now. But at the same time, I'm on vacation starting Wednesday, so I don't want to rush it too much. I don't want to rush my vacation too much, right? But yeah, guys, I definitely have some videos to put together for this week. We're going to a lot to talk about as far as episode 8 to come. Definitely this episode here, specific stuff, and definitely still have a lot of videos to cover for the manga, for stuff that's coming down the line even after the entertainment arc is over as far as the anime is concerned. So with that, guys, leave some comments in the comment section below. What did y'all think of episode 7 of season 2 today? Let me know your thoughts when you first sat down and watched it for the first time. Let's talk about some things. But other than that, I will hopefully talk to y'all next time with more Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba videos. Peace, guys.